What's going on, guys? In this video, we're talking about the 5 best decisions you can make in your 20s. If you want to avoid ending up like 99% of men, you need to watch this video. I think this video is going to be an absolute heater. So let's get into it. Now, when I say avoid ending up like 99% of men, what am I talking about? I'm talking about shit like this. Our boy Beer Gut Man, guys. Like, this is what the average guy looks like walking around on the street with a gut. He's 26% body fat. He's embarrassed. He doesn't even want to look at himself in the mirror. People are working in cubicles like this. I mean, this looks like some shit out of a fucking horror movie, guys. You're getting left on red by girls. This is the average existence of a man. 66% of men can't get a girlfriend. I believe the study is in 2018, about 40% of men had not had sex in the last year. And you know those numbers have only gone up since then with the prevalence of dating apps and social media and all that only continuing to rise. The average person makes $39,982 per year. And then I put this picture right here. I'm going to have to make a whole video on this shit, guys. I found this article. I'm going to have to make a whole video on it. But basically, I mean, you see it right here with this caption on this thing. This woman says, "You weren't dumped. You probably actively chose not to give her what she needed." And I put this on here just because it's just that typical gaslighting that you get from a lot of modern women where they're just gaslighting you about everything. And you hear this with them all the time. They're always gaslighting. Every time they're doing something that they know they shouldn't be doing, they've always got some cope or some justification for it, why it was the guy's fault. It's just this whole thing. And they always like put you in this spot. This is what normal guys deal with. They deal with this thing where they're maybe dating a girl or they're talking to a girl and then she just does some shit, like just loses interest in them, and they're completely confused as to why this happened, and she just starts gaslighting them about it, when in reality she just wasn't attracted to him because he's some fucking normie guy and she found a better option. And then they hit you with this gaslighting stuff, and so you're sitting there confused about life and all this stuff and getting depressed. If this shit sickens you, if you're like, I don't want to be like that, then this video is for you, okay? And you need to focus on the right things in your 20s, because most guys end up wrecking their lives in their 20s, and so this is where they end up. And it only gets worse from there, because then you end up in some cucked out marriage. Your wife doesn't respect you, driving the minivan. Your kids don't respect you. You're in debt. It's just a mess. And most men don't end up living the lives they actually want to live. So let's get into the 5 best decisions you can make in your 20s. The first one: devote yourself to physical and mental excellence. And notice I didn't say, quote, go to the gym. Right? This is what people be like, you need to go to the gym, bro. Like I'm raising the bar here, guys. This is not about just going to the gym. This is about being physically and mentally excellent. Listen, guys, you're never going to have a better opportunity to do this. As a man in your 20s, it will never be easier to become a total beast, right? You have basically no responsibility. Your testosterone is as high as it's ever going to be. You can recover very quickly. You need to be locked the fuck in. And like, you should really take it as a point of pride of like, listen, like building a successful career takes time, but right now you can lock in on your physical health. And if you don't look in the mirror and have a body of a Greek god, you should be ashamed of yourself on some level. Like, it's just unacceptable, guys. And so this is the first thing you need to do. Like, the best thing I've done in my life is just commit myself to physical and mental excellence. Okay. Now, what does this look like? Well, it looks like training to be aesthetic and dangerous. I think this is the ultimate combo for men. That ability to have this attractive frame, as you can see right here. Like, this is what I walk around looking like. Not trying to sound like arrogant or anything, but genuinely, I've put in the work. 12 years in the gym. I mean, it just pays off. You're more attractive. People give you respect. This is the kind of thing that you want to look in the mirror and be like, damn, like I look good and I feel proud of who I am. It's not an ego trip. I've earned this shit, right? And then, I picked up boxing about a year ago at this point. And guys, I'll be honest, like, martial arts has totally changed my life. I don't care if it's boxing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, pick something and get into this shit. It will train your mind. It will train your body. You want to be the kind of guy who looks handsome, who looks jacked, who looks like he can do damage. And then if you're ever tested, you actually can do damage. There's just real power in that. And what else are you going to do with your 20s, guys? Like, so many guys, if I ask them, what have you done with the last year of your life? They don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, do this shit. Get in shape, become dangerous. It's the ultimate combo, okay? This will make you attractive, boost your testosterone, your confidence, and your mental toughness. Your mental toughness goes through the roof when you're consistent in the gym. And then when you add the training on top of that for martial arts, it goes through the roof again, because you have to deal with more stressful situations. Maybe you're getting punched in sparring, or you're in jiu-jitsu and somebody's really got you in a bad spot or something like that. And you have to learn how to stay calm in these situations and, get yourself out of them or just manage them without getting completely destroyed. And this is this powerful life lesson that you learn. I have trained myself more and more to become calm thanks to the stress that I'm put under in martial arts. So I highly recommend you guys get into this kind of stuff. Next thing you want to do is fuel your body. Steak and eggs. That's what we do on this channel, guys. Like, if you get your steak and eggs right, seriously, like, go to the store after this video. If you don't have ribeyes and ground beef, I'm talking like lean ground beef, go get you some of that. Get eggs. That needs to be the staple of your diet. I'm so serious. This is going to boost your testosterone, boost your muscle mass, get you lean. We got to get the fucking carbs out. 70% of the average person's diet is ultra processed foods. You change this up and start fueling your body appropriately, you're going to look better. You're going to feel better. You're going to think better. It's going to have downstream massive positive effects. And I just don't understand, like, why people don't take fueling their body seriously. Like, how, I mean, it's like the basics. Like, if you put water in your car's not going to run. Well, what people basically do is put like the equivalent of that in their body when it comes to the junk food they eat. It's like, put the right shit in your body, and your body can run like a Ferrari, okay? And like, I just have so much energy because I eat right, and I don't have crap in my body, okay? And I put the electrolyte packets there because my point being with that, I take electrolytes every day, but my point is, like, get your supplement game right, I think electrolytes are a great one. Get testosterone supplements. Like, understand this kind of shit. I'm not saying you got to be a supplement junkie, but just like, get your body the shit it needs to succeed. You want to understand that, like, just set yourself up for success by fueling your body. The next thing, mental development. What does this look like? Well, it looks like meditation. This is something I've been committed to. It's something like I've been a little bit on and off with, to be honest, throughout my 20s. But every time I stay consistent with this, and I've been consistent with it recently, I'm just so much more calm. I'm so much more able to handle the stresses of daily life, and I recommend this for everybody. It also helps you take a step back from your thinking patterns, and most of you guys are in a spot you don't like in life because you have a bunch of thoughts running in your head that are fucking you up, a bunch of self-doubt thoughts, a bunch of I don't feel like it thoughts, and like lack of motivation, all this kind of crap, a bunch of anxiety. Maybe you're talking to a girl and you're nervous, and because you're nervous, you get afraid of being nervous, and now you think everything's going to go wrong, and you start catastrophizing everything, when in reality, this is all just junk going on in your head, and it's not real. And the ability to meditate, get out of that situation, and just stay calm and present is going to help you out a ton. Along with mental development, putting the right stuff in your brain, learning things, reading important books, things like that. I put David Goggins on here because just for the sake of like mental toughness. Another element of mental development is mental toughness. You want to, in your 20s, be putting yourself in challenging situation after challenging situation. If your life is comfortable in your 20s, you have done something horribly wrong and you are missing the point. This is supposed to be hard. This is supposed to be challenging, and it's going to make you better. When I look back on the times in my life, I talk about this time all the time, but when I went to Houston, Texas, and I ended up going flat broke and having to live in my friend's garage for a month and a half in the Houston heat, and it's 80 degrees at night, and I can't sleep, and there's roaches on the floor, and I'm just stressed out about how I'm going to make ends meet, and I'm like 16 hours away from home and all this kind of shit. I grew so much from that, and it's this thing that I can look back on and be like, I got through that and I handled myself right. I look back at COVID and realize the average person during COVID gained 27 pounds, and I got in better shape. I didn't give in to fear. I got better. I built a business during that time. Like, I locked the fuck in. And so these become these like references, challenges in your life where you handled them well, and now you know who you are because of the tests that you have passed. And if you've made the mistake of failing tests in the past, that's okay. I've failed tests as well. But you can start today to develop that mental toughness by every time a challenge shows up in your life, you say, this is an opportunity to prove to myself that I am that guy. And then you go do that, and you get harder, and it gets easier for you to do this. And you create this gap between you and the average person where they just look at you and they're like, how the fuck is this guy doing this? He's such a beast. Okay, I highly recommend, you got to train your mental toughness. You got to get out of your comfort zone. Seriously, like, be building stuff, growing, pushing yourself, training hard, all of this stuff. And then I put the Hormozy podcast right there because a part of mental development is feeding your brain the right stuff. Get the junk out of there. Why are we watching fucking sports all day? Why are we, listening to like pointless podcasts? Or why are we listening to just like garbage Netflix series and things like that? Like, for the most part, like, if you want to watch some of that, okay, but like, we need to have an 80-20 rule where like 80% of the shit that's going into your brain is actually helping you get where you want to get. It's helping you with your mindset. It's helping you learn the things that you need to learn. It's helping you see the world in the correct way to help you achieve your goals and become a successful person. Every time that I get myself in this spot where maybe I'm doom scrolling on the phone or I get caught up on political bullshit or something like that, I immediately notice all these other kind of thoughts and shit start creeping up, and I just get lazier and more apathetic, and it just starts to compound on itself, guys. So you seriously, like, put the right shit in your head. You want to become mentally bulletproof. That is the goal. You want to get to that point where, like, all hell can break loose in your life and you just don't bat an eye. And I mean, this is like an ultimate goal. I'm not saying I'm perfect at this either, but the closer you can get to that, where you just don't blink, you don't give into emotion, you don't play the victim when shit hits the fan, and you know what to do in those situations, and you're calm under pressure, you're just going to be so much more powerful. You're going to be so much more attractive and respected. Women, the biggest thing that women will test you on is your emotional strength, right? This is when they do the pullbacks. This is when they play the games with you. This is when they flake on the date. This is all just stuff they're doing to almost just see, like, what kind of man you are. And if you just keep getting rattled by this shit, you get rattled because the girl didn't text you back in immediately, and she took multiple hours, and maybe she posted an Instagram story in between that time, just trying to get in your head. If this shit all fucks you up, like, you are not a full-grown man yet. You got to deal with this shit and become mentally bulletproof. Number 2, commit to being boring for 3 years. I made the entire video about this a few days ago. Stay single and boring for 3 years. I recommend you go watch that video when we're done here. But just to sum it up, you want to devote 3 years fully to improving yourself. This is an absolute non-negotiable for your 20s. Be boring. Stop with the whole, I need to get a girlfriend when I'm 21 or 24. Stop with the, I need to have a great social life. I need to go have fun. I need to live a little. I need balance. You are like fucking 25 years old, bro. You don't need balance. You need to work your ass off. That's what you need. You aren't where you want to be, and you aren't going to get there unless you put in the years to become the man that you want to be. Okay? Understand, I'm going to read it again. You aren't where you want to be, and you aren't going to get there unless you put in the years to become the man you want to be. Understand, there is just like, there's a giant gap between where you're at now and where you want to be, and fucking around and work-life balance and I just want to have a girlfriend right now, even though I'm a loser. Like, all of this shit is not going to help you get there. And what really happens is you actually, like, the window closes. The window's not open forever. Like, if you're 40 years old and you still haven't gotten your shit together, you missed it, right? Like, you're supposed to be there right now. You're supposed to have put in the work by then, right? Like, you need to start doing this shit now, because if you're just fucking around, like, other people will just pass you by and you won't get there, because there's a gigantic amount of work that has to get done to achieve your goals. I put this example in that video on the top there. Like, let's say this is just you. This is like some average guy in his, mid early 20s. And the guy on the bottom, he's some guy in his, mid 30s, right? So the guy on the top, he's making less than $50,000 a year. He's got a boyish frame, meaning he just doesn't really have that masculine physique yet. He's living with his parents. He's got an old car. He's emotionally weak, because most of you guys in your early 20s, and I'm not saying this to shit on you, but it's just a fact because I was there, you are a lot more emotionally fragile than you think you are. And I can just tell you this from experience. If you do what I said to do in the mental toughness part of this video, you're going to get to a point where you just look back at yourself and you're like, how the fuck was I so bothered by all this shit? Like, you'll just have such better perspective. You'll be so much stronger, and you'll realize you were totally weak as fuck in your early and mid 20s. Okay. And so that's just the fact for most of you. You haven't accomplished much of anything at all in your life. And then you've got this guy on the bottom here who's making, let's say, $400,000 a year. He's got a masculine frame, meaning he's in good shape. He's got that man body about him. He's living a luxury lifestyle because that's what he's earned for himself. He's mentally tough and stoic. And he's got a resume built in many areas. He's done shit. He's accomplished shit. He knows who he is. He's carrying himself that way. And my point is that, guys, like, this guy slaughters you in every area of life. If you're just some guy in your early mid 20s, again, I'm not shitting on you, but you just need to understand, like, there's levels to the game. And when you're in your mid to early 20s, you're like level 1 on the game, and you just got to deal with that. And I know it sucks, but this is how it is. Okay. And like, you just stand no chance against this guy. And if you try to compete with him now, he's going to destroy you. And then you're also going to waste your time. So you're never actually going to get to where he's at. Okay. You are so far behind top level men. You just got to understand that. There's a giant pile of shit in front of you, and the only way to get where you want to go is to confront it and get through it. Okay. Understand that. Like, the price of success is just getting through a bunch of bullshit, and everybody wants it to be a different way, but it's just not going to be. This is how it is. Number 3, stop people pleasing and live entirely for yourself. This is something I have really recently begun to understand is an important thing to discuss. I did not understand how many guys are struggling with the people pleasing thing. In fact, I realized I was struggling with it more than I thought. I'm not like the world's biggest people pleaser or anything, but I still noticed it creeping into my like my psyche, into my behavior, where I was like trying to do this thing where I was likable and all this kind of shit. And you realize being likable is stupid. It's just not, it's not something you actually want to focus on. Okay. And you want to live entirely for yourself, because most people think this is some bad thing to be selfish, but it's actually not the case. Like, you need to be selfish. This is what the douche mentality is all about that we've been talking about on the channel. It's about saying, look, I've got one life. I'm going to live it for me to the best of my ability. I'm going to do some cool shit. And if you don't like me, I don't give a fuck. That's really what the douche mentality is all about. Okay. Now, why do you care so much about the approval of people you don't even like to begin with? That's the real question. Because right now, you've probably, like, if you're thinking about doing something, maybe you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, maybe you're thinking about quitting your job or dropping out of college, or you're thinking about, asking this girl out or whatever it is. You've got this thing in your head, this person you're imagining who's going to judge you for this thing. And I would just ask you, like, why do you care what that person thinks? Because you probably don't even like that person. And even if you do, if they're really a good friend of yours, then they're probably not going to judge you for it, actually. So you're overthinking this and you're worried about shit you shouldn't be worried about. Here's how people pleasing ruins you. First, women don't respect you. Women do not want a people pleaser guy. This is the guy they always leave. And what happens is guys will be talking to a girl. Maybe they went on some dates with her. Maybe they're in a relationship with her. And they do this thing where, like, she does something to disrespect them, some sort of test or something. And maybe they stand up for themselves. Maybe they don't. But either way, they end up worrying about what she thinks of them. They comply with her disrespectful behavior because they're worried about what she thinks of them. They're afraid to lose her, or maybe they stand up to it, but then later they're judging themselves for it. And they're like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I was the problem. And they start doing this questioning game of their own worth because they don't want the girl to not like them. This is what people pleasing does to you. Other people take advantage of you. If you're not standing up for your best interests and you're too busy trying to be liked by everybody, then people who don't give a fuck are just going to run you over. Okay? You aren't willing to say no. And to be successful, you have to say no to a lot of things. You have to say no to family reunion. You have to say no to the relationship that doesn't serve you. You have to say no to the friends that you really shouldn't even be friends with anymore, that you need to cut out of your life. You have to say no to a lot of stuff. And if you're too worried about the approval of other people, you will not say no. Okay? You prioritize being liked over being respected. I've really realized this. The price of respect is being liked. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really, like, oftentimes to be respected, you cannot be liked. They're not mutually exclusive, but they're pretty close to it, actually, right? Because to command respect means you have to be willing to be in conflict with people, because people are going to disrespect you. People are going to do things to you. Sometimes it's not intentional, but you still have to stand your ground, and that's conflict, and people have reactions to that. And I've noticed that people who are, prioritizing being liked over being respected, which is what people pleasers do. They want everybody to like them. What happens is when people talk about them, they're like, oh yeah, he's a nice guy. That's what they say. They're like, oh, he's a nice guy. And I realized people will say that you're a nice guy when they can't think of anything else to say about you, because you're so fucking vanilla, because you're so worried about what they think that you won't say your truth. You won't be authentic. You won't stand up for anything. So all they really can say is he's a nice guy. Is that what you want your legacy to be? Is like, oh yeah, he was a nice guy, vanilla, like no girls turned on, like he has no polarity about him. He got ran over. Yeah, he never got what he wanted out of life, but God, he was such a nice guy. You know what I mean? Like, just, is that really what you want? Like, it just sounds gay when you say it. You know what I mean? You can't be honest if you're a people pleaser, because you're too worried about what other people think. So you're not authentic. You're not being true to yourself. You're not saying your truth. You're not living your truth. Top level men are disagreeable and prioritize their own purpose in life. You need to understand this, guys. Like, top level men are not people pleasers. They're willing to have conflict. The guy who has the dating life that you want is the guy who's willing to have a backbone with women and to tell them off if they're not in his frame, if they're not compliant. And usually they'll come back and apologize if you do this. That guy, he prioritizes his own purpose. He's like, again, he's got that douche mentality. He's like, I am here with this one life and I'm going to do some fucking epic shit with it while I'm here. And I don't give a damn if you like me. You need to have that energy, guys. The price tag for everything you want is being liked. Nobody's going to like you if you stand up for your own interests, right? They're going to complain. Eventually they'll come around to you, right? And usually they just respect you, but they're not going to like you for a while. The girl's not going to like you if you tell her, if you like hold her to a standard. Your, shithead friends aren't going to like you when you cut them out of your life. Your boss isn't going to be happy when you quit your job to start that business. Your parents might question you when you drop out of college to do whatever the thing is that you feel like you should do. The price tag for everything you want is being liked. Just understand that it's part of doing business. There's nothing wrong because a lot of guys will feel like something's wrong when this happens. They're like, I don't understand why people don't like me. I'm like, dude, that's the price tag. You know what I mean? It's just like the price tag for a great body is spending time in the gym and dieting. This is the price tag for what you want. I mean, even there's another one, right? When you turn down going out for beer and pizza and instead go train or eat right, people aren't going to like you for that. They're going to complain. They're going to tell you to live a little, right? I've had to deal with this kind of shit. The price tag for everything you want is being liked. Being respected means you aren't always liked. Just understand that. I mentioned this already, so I won't beat a dead horse, but you get it. Achieving your goals means telling people no and cutting off people who aren't serving you. The dating life you want will require you to have a massive backbone. Understand that. Like, if you are a people pleaser, you just won't do what it takes to get what you want in life. And so you really need to cut this out. You need to commit to destroying this element of yourself, be aware of it. And this is where mindfulness meditation comes in. You start to be much more aware of your behavior and your thoughts, and you realize, okay, I am way too worried about what other people think of me right now. And then you can start to untangle this thing and get out of it and change your behavior consciously so that you're not doing this anymore and you prioritize your own self-interest and your own goals, okay? Number 4, accept the world as it is and commit to winning. 99% of people complain about the way things are. They're complaining about gas prices, egg prices, traffic. They're complaining about who won the election. They're complaining about how the system's not fair. They're complaining about modern women. They're complaining about God knows what, how hard it is to get in shape or diets or whatever. They're just complain. This is all they fucking do. They feel that things, quote, should be different. And I hate this word should. Listen, you're going to say it because it's part of the English language, but I hate the should statements, which are these things where people put an expectation on the universe about how it should be. Women should love me for me. Why? This is just some shit you say. It just fulfills your ego. I should get paid more. Why? Okay? If you earned it, you'd have it. You get what I'm saying? So these should statements are stupid. So people spend all their lives feeling like things should be different. They never just accept the way the world is. The world is the way it is, and it doesn't give a fuck about how you feel about it. Just understand that. The world does not care. Do you think that the universe woke up this morning and gave a fuck about what you have to think? It doesn't give a shit, okay? Life's going to do what life's going to do. You can either adapt to it or you can bitch about it, okay? The real G's are going to embrace the world and figure out how to win. That's what we do. That's what the douche mentality does. That's what my life maxing approach that we talk about on the channel is all about. It's about understanding the way the world works and using that to your advantage so you can get the life you actually want. Freedom, wealth, prosperity, a great dating life, being healthy, feel like just fulfilling your purpose in life, doing great things, okay? That only happens when you embrace the way the world is, because if you won't do that, then you can't get results. If you're too busy convincing yourself that women should be a certain way, then every time you go on a date with them, you're never going to get results because you won't embrace reality. And if you're too busy complaining about how you should just get paid more at your job, well, you'll never do what it takes to actually get rich. Don't complain about jobs not paying well. Figure out how to actually get rich and just do that. Okay? You see how you can do one of those two things, right? You can complain or you can just figure it out. Time is going to pass either way. You're going to die either way. Which one's going to lead to a better life? Changing your behavior to achieve your goals or just bitching about things and wallowing in it, okay? Don't complain about women. Learn female nature and build the dating life you want. Don't complain about things being hard. Get tougher and accomplish the goals that no one else can, because everyone else is too busy talking about how hard it is. If you're just like, okay, fine, this is the price for what I want out of life, I'm willing to pay it, lock the fuck in, get tougher, get harder. You're going to build your mental toughness in doing this and achieve those goals. And then everyone looks at you and they're like, how the fuck did this guy do it? And it's like, well, he wasn't complaining about how hard things were. He just got down to business, okay? Life is actually pretty great if you'll just stop complaining about it and figure out how it works, right? I've been really harping on this lately, is that the problem isn't the game. The problem is that you suck at playing the game. I think I even put that right here. Yeah, the problem isn't the game. The problem is you suck at playing the game, meaning the game of life. Like, there are people out there getting fantastic results. So if you aren't getting fantastic results, it's because you just don't understand how this game works. Okay. Number 5, commit to being the ultimate version of yourself and don't get distracted from it. So I made this post in my school community, and I actually made an entire video about it that I'm probably going to upload on the channel here at some point soon. But I wanted to read this off because I felt like I expressed it most succinctly here, and then I'm going to elaborate on what I'm talking about. So, like, here's why you should set massive goals for yourself. We tend to do this logical thing when we think about our goals, which is to take a bigger goal and break it down into bite-sized pieces. You want to make $10,000 a month, and so this month you think, okay, if I can make $3,000, then that'll be a great step in the right direction. This isn't actually how it works. How you achieve $3,000 a month is different than how you achieve $10,000 a month and $100,000 a month, meaning that if you change your focus to the short-term target of $3,000 a month, you actually slow down your progress towards your actual goal of $10,000 a month. This is because results aren't linear progressions. Each level of success comes with a completely different approach. In my real estate career, I make over $10,000 a month. If my goal was to consistently make $20,000 a month, my strategy would be to just do more of what I'm already doing and do it better. If my goal was to jump to $100,000 a month, then I would have to rethink my strategy from the ground up because what I'm doing now can't get me there. You see how if my goal was $100,000 a month, but I set a quote milestone of $20,000 a month, it would actually lead me down the wrong path. What happens is we set big goals, but we get impatient and look for something that seems a bit more in reach and we can achieve quicker. Here's the other funny part about this, though. Your short-term, easier goals is actually just as hard as your long-term big goal. That's because everything in life is hard. Different challenges come with different kinds of hard, but there is no goal, big or small, in any area that will be easy. One guy wants to date tons of women. Another guy wants a relationship. You might think the relationship is easier because it's only one woman, but you quickly realize it's just a completely different kind of hard. So if everything is hard, rather than aiming for attainable goals, you should aim for goals that are motivating enough for you to make it through all the bullshit involved in achieving them. The goal that is most attainable is actually the one you're willing to stick with, not the one that seems closest to you. So you got to understand, guys, you can accomplish whatever you set your mind to. Okay, seriously, like, and that's the point of this post. That's the point of this topic right here of you need to create a vision for your life and not get distracted from it, because I've realized that this is something that's really screwed me up, I realized, and I think it screws a lot of guys up, is they have like real goals they want, these big things they want for their life, but they feel so far off that they just kind of focus on the little things right in front of them that they think they can grab. And they think that any progress is leading to the ultimate progress. They think that if they're making $3,000 a month and they get to $5,000 a month, then that means they're closer to making $100,000 a month. But that's not how it works, right? You could be making $3,000 a month in a job and get a promotion that gets you to $5,000 a month, but all you've done is add more responsibility to yourself in that $5,000 per month position, meaning that you're spending more time on it and you have less time to actually focus on the thing that's going to get you to $100,000 a month, because you're never going to get to that income working for somebody else. So you see how basically what happens is we get so caught up on these short-term things that we lose sight of what we really want, and we chase things that actually run us off in completely wrong directions. And I've done this a bunch of times in my life where, like, I've got these humongous goals and I'll just be like, oh, well, yeah, but I can go get this thing right now. And then you just completely fall off track. Another example of this would be like fitness. Let's say that you're a skinny fat guy right now, and your real goal is you want to be that guy I was talking about, aesthetic and dangerous. You want to get jacked, right? But then you've also got this other goal, which is, hey, I want to see my abs. And so what you do is you go on this quick cut and try and lose some fat so that you can see your abs. And you might think, well, hey, any progress is going to get me to my goal. But what actually happens is you actually made it take longer to get what you really want. Because if you want to get that aesthetic physique and you have a skinny fat body, what you'd actually want to do first is bulk up, pack on a bunch of muscle, and then cut down. So if you cut first, you actually just made it harder, and you're going to have to bulk up anyways and lose the abs. So you see how, like, chasing short-term goals takes you off track from your long-term goal. And if you want to get ahead of everybody and accomplish things that they can never accomplish, you actually need to get really fucking clear on, like, who do you want to be in life? What do you want to accomplish? What actually excites you? What is something that is, motivating enough for you to tolerate the pain of life? and then just commit wholeheartedly to that, and do not get distracted by shiny object syndrome. Don't get distracted by the easy thing that seems right in reach. You know, I was thinking about this today. Everywhere I look in my life, I see pain. And I don't mean pain in like I'm a depressed way or anything like that. I mean pain in like, fuck, everything around me sucks and it's hard and there's all this bullshit I got to do and it's not where I want it to be. And I just look in every direction and realize there's no escaping this. You know, in my real estate career, with creating content, like whatever I decide to do, there's going to be this gigantic mountain of bullshit I got to deal with for it. And so I realized, like, with that in mind, all you can do is just find something that makes the bullshit bearable. So it's like you pick something that you're willing to suffer for, because you're going to suffer no matter what. You sit on the couch eating chips, you're going to suffer an existential soul-killing depression. You go out and work a job you don't like, you're going to suffer existentially for that. You pursue a business, you are going to suffer for that. You get in the gym, you're going to suffer for that, right? Like everything comes with suffering. You try to date a girl, she rejects you, you have suffered. You avoid dating, but you're alone, you suffer there. Like you're suffering everywhere you look, and you just have to pick a vision of your life that makes the suffering tolerable, and not get distracted by all the little shit that comes along the way. If you're getting distracted by shiny objects along the way, you'll never make it. Just understand that, right? Like you've got this big thing you want to accomplish. Maybe you want to, let's say you want to be a YouTuber, okay? You want to be a YouTuber, but you're also in a job right now that you don't like, and you're like, well, maybe if I could just get paid a little bit more. And so you spend all your time trying to figure out how to get paid a little bit more money rather than exiting the job and starting the YouTube channel, or at least starting the YouTube channel on the side. And because of that, you're never actually going to start the YouTube channel. And it just goes for everything, guys. And seriously, like you got to understand this. Like people will be doing this like thing where they want to they're like, I want to be jacked, but they're fat. And the first thing they do is go run. And I'm like, running is not going to put muscle on you. You're going backwards. Your ultimate goal is aesthetic physique, but you have this short-term pain of being fat, and so you go run, which ironically running doesn't really burn fat all that well, but even on top of that, it damn sure doesn't build muscle. So even if you accomplish your goal of losing the fat, you will still not have the body you want. And so it's just chasing the wrong shit and getting caught up on little things that don't actually get you where you want to get. This is a huge fucking mistake people make. Commit to your ultimate vision. Set a long-term vision of who you want to be and what you want your life to look like. Then figure out how you need to change and what actions you need to take. Stick to the plan and see it through, guys. Just power through it, because anything is possible as long as you don't give up and don't get distracted by bullshit. And no matter where you go, just remember, if the shiny object creeps in, you're like, oh, but I could go get this thing. I promise you, it is way harder than you think. Everything is hard and everything is full of bullshit. So don't bother changing course. Just stick to the thing that's actually worth it. Don't be fooled by this idea that it'll be easier. It won't be easier. Now, if you've made it to this point and you want to watch that full video I was discussing about stay single and boring for 3 years, click the video on screen. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll talk to you later.